I have my doubts about whether this story is real, but at the same time, I know that anything can happen. So, after I finish telling it, I'll share my own thoughts at the end. It's the Queen, with no secrets to keep. You know the old saying, when the wine is in, the wit is out, and all bets are off. Listen closely. Sound of a small bell. My name is Beatrice. I'm 26 years old. I have tan skin, curly hair, and green eyes, and my family has always loved to throw parties at country estates. And every single time, something different happens. Someone tells a wild story, or something wild goes down. I remember my uncle finding messages from another man on his wife's phone and just breaking down in tears in front of everyone. But that doesn't even come close to the story I'm about to tell you today. I work as a hospital nurse here in Brasilia, and believe me, this place is a front runner for stories of infidelity. If it's not number one, it's pretty close. And my coworkers, don't even get me started. The things I've heard. But what I've realized is that when you live in that kind of environment, you eventually become part of the story yourself. It's like we become the average of the people we're around, and everything seems to conspire to pull you in. I was engaged to Bruno at the beginning of this year when it all happened. We had invested in an apartment together here in the area. He's a real estate agent and was always crushing his sales targets at the firm where he works. Bruno is a lot like me. He loves to go out, to party, to live life the way it's meant to be lived. He enjoys a good distilled spirit whenever he can. If you let him, he'd drink every day. But it was at one of these family get togethers at a country estate that things were about to take a turn. We had rented the place for everyone with the idea of celebrating our engagement. Only this time, we invited absolutely everyone. There were people from all walks of life there. A friend of Bruno's, Alex, the son of a local rancher, had brought an expensive horse. I think he was just trying to show off. Around 2 in the afternoon, after the barbecue, this friend of his started talking about the horse, and it piqued our curiosity since we knew nothing about the subject. Hey, Bruno, this horse here is a Frisian, an incredible animal. I call him Sargento. Managed to get him for 60,000 4 years ago. He's agile, strong, and robust. Not to mention his docile temperament. And Alex went on like that for almost 30 minutes, praising his horse. Honestly, I don't remember all the characteristics he listed. It wasn't really my area of interest. But what I found strange was the way Bruno's friend talked. He was attributing these qualities to the horse as if it were something from another world. Whether it was all true, I don't know, but it was a beautiful horse, black, and clearly very well cared for. Sound of a small bell. To get out of the conversation, we made up some excuse about needing to grab something in town. I needed to enjoy the party and my friends, you know? I remember that day. Bruno wanted to get intimate at the estate, but I told him we'd have to wait until the dead of night. There were just too many people around and it was complicated. So, in the late afternoon, I decided to spend some time with my friend Alessandra sitting on a bench far from the pool, just talking. I've known her since we were young, and we've never had any problems. I've always told her everything, absolutely everything. And to my surprise, she starts bringing up a different topic. Bia, it's been a while for me. It's getting tough. When I meet someone, the guy wants something serious, and I don't, because I see something I don't like. Or sometimes he just takes me to dinner and doesn't eat afterwards. It's hard, she said, already a little tipsy. Well, Lee, that's what I called her. Maybe you're being too selective. Some guys aren't great at communicating. Maybe you could be more open and just ask him if he's planning on having dessert after dinner, right? I told her, smiling. Bia, maybe. But tonight, I want new experiences. I'm looking for bigger things. Like a surge. Before she could finish, I saw the sheer determination in her eyes. Lay, I think you'd better drink some water. Hydrate a little. Have some meat. Okay? More people are arriving soon. And don't worry. We'll figure something out later. Just take a minute. I've only had water so far while I was running around. Hold it together. Lay was one of those brave friends. She didn't care about much, but she was selective about her men. She was blonde, with straight hair, brown eyes, and she was a great conversationalist when she was sober. Night came on slowly. Bruno, my fiancé, was tired. The crowd had already emptied the coolers. Bellies were full. And it wasn't even 9 o'clock. Some guests hadn't shown up, and I was already getting a little buzzed along with Lay. Meanwhile, from a distance, I was watching Alex putting Sargento to bed in a small barn about 200 meters from the barbecue area. It had one window and a large door. Interesting. Everyone went to sleep. Lay and I did too. And then suddenly, I wake up at 2 in the morning and decide to get some water. The kitchen window was open, and I see Lay walking outside, holding only a small lamp. Instantly, I slipped out of the house. Without making a sound, I crept along the edges, trying to see where she was going. And you won't believe this. She didn't even see me. She was heading straight for the little barn. I kept thinking, is she really going to do what I think she's going to do? Lay went inside slowly, almost as if she knew her way around, like she had experience with this. What madness. Suddenly, I hear a bit of noise and decide to peek through the barn window. It was Lay, pulling a table over to get closer to Sargento. And after a few minutes, I hear her moaning. I carefully tilted my head to get a better look. I wanted to see what was happening, and to my surprise, there she was, on the table, servicing Sargento's equipment. Just like that. I had never seen a 40-centimeter tool in my life. The funny thing is, after a few minutes, feeling the effects of the alcohol myself, I wanted to participate. I wanted to go into that barn with Lay. Lay was a little surprised when I came in, but I told her everything was fine. Then, it seemed like someone was calling. It was Alex. We moved the table, but he'd already seen us. He said quietly, "Be careful. What if someone else had come by at this hour? What if Bruno had found you here?" At that moment, there wasn't much to say. Lay and I left to go rest and sleep. My curiosity had been satisfied, and I went back to the main house. The next day, Bruno woke up very early and left. He didn't talk to anyone. He just said he had an appointment. His appointment was to call me later and tell me he didn't want anything to do with me anymore, that he wanted to move on with his life. I didn't even question it. I already knew why. The interesting thing is, he never told this story to anyone. And if other people know, no one has ever said anything to me. I let it go and went on with my life. Today, I only really go out with Lay, and Bruno has never spoken to me again. What I find interesting about this story is that she doesn't seem to realize it could have been the effects of the alcohol, or perhaps something her friend gave her. It's likely her friend Lay wasn't happy to see her so content. And another interesting point. Why did Alex tell Bruno about it so early, before she even woke up? What was his motive? Especially since he had seemed so friendly in the moment. Bruno, on the other hand, didn't tell anyone. He acted as a man of honor, protecting her integrity and simply moving on with his life. Although this is a story that causes quite a stir, we also have to understand the point of reflection it offers. Do we really have true friends? So many questions can arise from this story. Leave your comment. Kisses from the Queen.